Okay. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian beaches in the love room on the big island of Hawaii. Hooray! And I have Lori as my panelist. By the way, if anyone wants to be on video, you become a panelist. That's how it works. Yeah. It's super fun. So raise your hand if you're on the webinar. Just go ahead and raise your hand. If you're not on the webinar and you see this live on Facebook, maybe next time. No, if you go to my page, Hope Johnson, my personal page, you'll see a link there. I just did a post. So yay, everyone!
Is Phoebe on?
Phoebe is on. Yes.
Tell her to go live. She could be a panelist too.
She can hear you.
Hear me, girlfriend.
So I had a question today. I would like to start out with that one. Someone's on chat. Oh,
Phoebe.
She says hi.
Apparently she doesn't want to be a panelist.
I think the word kind of scares folk off, but you know, all it really means is your video goes up there when you want to talk. Yeah.
No, it scares me.
So there's a question today. Let me go back to my wall here because I posted something and my friend was like, what? You got to explain that. And you know how I love to explain stuff on Facebook. Not.
Yeah, that's why we're doing this.
That's why we're doing this. So here it is. Here's the post that had the question on it. Don't make yourself into a quitter. You have no choice in what you do, what you consume, or what habits seem to be yours. Identifying as someone who quits something through willpower engenders false pride, which is far more destructive than any perceived food, drink, substance, or habit. So it's kind of ingrained in our psyche that we choose what we do. So then if there's a habit, let's say smoking, let's put smoking up as the habit, okay? Say there's smoking and, you know, the whole time they're smoking, they're thinking, oh, this is a bad habit. This is such a bad habit, this smoking. And then at some point, the self-will, the self-image, that self-thought that we make of ourselves feels strong enough to quit smoking. Feels like it's strong enough to quit smoking. And that's just a thought. That's just a thought. So then the smoking stops, maybe temporarily, maybe permanently. And there's a sense like I did that. There's a sense as in I did that. Now, that's setting us up for miseries. It's like it's building miseries because in the sense that I did that, I overcame that addiction. I overcame that habit. There's a sense that you can do things. So this is identifying with the doer, even more so because it's to the point where I have to take responsibility for whatever I do. Okay. And
by thinking that you picked up the smoking in the first place.
In the first place, right. As if you actually picked it up in the first place. And here's the thing about the illusion. It's meant to show you that you're separate. It's meant to prove that you're separate. It's meant to show that you're a doer. So you'll find yourself apparently doing these different things, and it's very convincing that you're making that choice, that you're making a choice for that. Like, for instance, I'm picking up this glass of water with a drop of some beautiful spearmint essential oil in it, having a sip, and it seems like I chose to do that. It seems like I'm choosing the words that are coming out of my mouth even. Don't buy it. You'll feel so free. You'll feel so ridiculously free. Okay? And look, the only purpose of the body is for restoring the mind to peace. It's not for keeping it healthy. It's not for keeping it healthy. It's not for getting it in shape. It's not for basically attack. That's what all those things are. They're attack. Not saying that you can't get in shape or be healthy. You can't have that experience. In fact, it's already known that you would prefer being healthy to unhealthy. I don't think there's anyone that would prefer being unhealthy. But when you have the experience of lack of health, you can be guaranteed that you did choose that on a different level, not the level of perception, okay? You did choose that on a different level. That's why the willpower things puts you down at the lowest level of perception, as if you are that perceiving entity and you can take control over what you're perceiving like that. See?
Hope.
Yes, my love.
Everything that you're saying, I did a live video tonight. What is coming out of your mouth is exactly what I said.
That's awesome.
So far.
How wonderful.
I was saying there's nobody here making this hand do this. There's no. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's the trick, that we can exercise some kind of responsibility over what we're doing, some kind of authority over what we seem to be doing, as if we are doing it as an autonomous individual. Okay.
And when you realize that about yourself, you realize that the others, that's another thing I said tonight, is that the others aren't doing it either. They're not doing. So there goes judgment. There goes, oh, it's such freedom.
Yes, it's such freedom. And if you would be just a little bit willing to accept whatever you find yourself doing as exactly what you need to restore your mind to peace, you'll find that you're enjoying what you're doing no matter what. You'll find that your body will reflect health and energy and vitality more often than not. In fact, when your body reflects a lack of health, energy, vitality, that is an effect of believing a guilty thought. You hear what I'm saying? It's an effect of believing a guilty thought. So it doesn't matter how healthy you think you are with your apparent choices. You know, you could feel a lot of pride about, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't eat junky food, whatever junky food is to you, and I breathe fresh air and all this other stuff. And you can still find yourself with a sick body. See, and here's the thing about a sick body. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It is an attack on who you are. It's an attack on who you are, okay? Any kind of low energy, even getting tired toward the end of the night, okay? I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get tired toward the end of the night, okay? I have the same experience. A lot of nights I have the same experience. Not every night. Sometimes it's 3 hours of rest, back on. But, but you know, even getting tired, that's an effect of guilty consciousness. This is not personal. So it's like, don't make it your goal to be like, I never sleep and I'm like always having energy. But if you would be willing to recognize that even getting tired is an effect of guilt, and there goes Lori yawning right when I say that. That's freaking awesome. It's an effect of guilty consciousness. Then that's how we undo the thinking of the world. Okay, here's another question that just popped up. Why do we want to undo the thinking of the world? Okay, why do we want to undo the thinking of the world? You know, okay. How did the thinking of the world come about in the first place? Okay. Before we ever perceived a world of form, before there was ever perception of a world of form, there was seeing within guilt, our own guilt. Not that it's really there. It's been an illusion the whole time. We don't have any guilt. Okay. It's not real guilt. It's a perception of guilt. So before the world is formed, there's a perception of self-guilt. Say you perceived, I must be guilty, and then you didn't laugh about it. You didn't laugh about it. It seemed like it was real. Okay. It took in the scope of, the illusion of time, you could say eons, to build that up to the point where a world could be projected. Okay. Now that a world is projected, it's based on that. It's based on guilt. The whole world is based on guilt, the world that we're perceiving. Okay. So it's coming up to show us, to represent what we saw within. It's representing guilty consciousness. So when we make a choice to undo that thinking, it takes it back the other way. It keeps on wearing away at that veil until we suddenly find ourselves in a world of light again, which is the real world, which is the world of light, is what I'm referring to as the real world. Okay. Don't take that too literally, because none of us can really conceive of the real world from this perceived world. All right. So in undoing the thinking of the world within our own mind, we don't have to convince anyone else. I don't need to do wisdom dialogues, for instance. It's just fun for me. Okay. I don't have to get anyone else on board with me. No one needs to get anyone else on board with them. Undoing the thinking of the world within your own consciousness. Okay. And that happens perception by perception. You don't have to try to plan it out. It's coming. It's coming. Perception by perception. And one of them is what we just brought up today. One of them is that idea that I can choose to quit a habit. That I can choose to quit a habit. Like, oh, look, I'm smoking. I'm going to quit smoking. And then you find yourself putting it down. There, I did it. Okay. And it's funny because recently I was smoking, not a lot, but just like some spliff here and there, maybe 1 a day, 2 a day, something like that. And then all of a sudden I didn't have a feeling for it anymore. It didn't feel good anymore. I just didn't have a feeling for it. Did I quit? No. Tell my friends, I'm no quitter. I just don't feel like having one right now. I'm not a quitter. And who knows? Who knows if, when I might. But it's not as if there's an entity here that made it so that I would, okay, I'm going to. And even if you do perceive yourself using a lot of willpower to not do something that you're used to doing, that you might call a habit, that's also like fate playing out. Even the thought that you're going to be strong and beat this, that is fate playing out. It's another thought. See, look at the thought, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to be strong is a thought. What's being referred to there, the subject being referred to there, I, is also a thought. That I is also a thought. So these thoughts are occurring to nobody and playing out according to fate. Okay? What's fate? What's fate? Fate is programming. So you can say from this instant, every body mind, let's call it a body mind. It's a body programming, let's say. It's already written. From this instant, it's all written, not just this lifetime, all the lifetimes that follow it. That's fate. What turns it into destiny is another choice. It's a choice beyond the illusion. It's a choice before the illusion. It's a choice to undo the thinking of the mind. So in the case of I quit or I'd like to quit, these are thoughts, right? I quit or I'd like to quit. If there's just a little, I like to say, nod to God in that, that no, this isn't really what it seems. This isn't really what it seems. Even I would like to quit. You can have a laugh at that. That's a thought that's already playing out. You know, and it's likely that it's moving toward quitting. It's moving toward quitting, and it's going to be way easier for it to happen if you're not identified with the thought. It could just be sort of fun. Ooh, I might not have this very much longer. And it might even inspire you to enjoy it a lot while it's around. See? It might even inspire you to get more joy out of it while it's around. If the thought occurs to you, I would like to quit, then you can know that already thoughts are coalescing to change things around, to change things up. And if you take it as if this is about me and I need to do something about it, it makes it very difficult. Then you got to do something like AA, where you just stand up and say, I'm an alcoholic, or I'm this, or I'm that. And, you know, you get a chip when you do really good. You know, that's really supporting the illusion. I'm not saying that AA is by any means a bad thing. It's just not something that is truthful. It's not something that's truthful about who you are.
And
Okay.
when you go through all of that and you believe that you're the one that's either quit or is doing good and getting the chips in AA, if you don't, if there's a fall, which isn't what it is, but
Right.
then the pain of that.
Oh yeah.
I messed up, I failed, or they keep it secret, don't let anybody know because I'm supposed to be 30 years out. And, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's hard. And you know, that dishonesty is definitely a sign of identifying as an ego.
Totally.
There's no incentive to be dishonest unless you've been identified as an ego.
That's it. That is it.
It's like, yeah, well, I didn't have a drink, that's for sure. I know I didn't have a drink. I'm not capable of it, but I found myself drinking last night. You know, something like that. I found myself brushing my teeth a little bit earlier. There's really not a difference. There's really not. Or I found myself taking a nap, you know. But you know, in the illusion, we separate everything out in terms of good or bad. In terms of, is this good for me or is this bad for me? Well, actually, they're all effects, and no effects can have any effect on your body because it's all effects of the mind. The body is also an effect of the mind. Okay? So it's not like you need to do better. I was talking about yesterday with Wisdom Dialogues in person about yoga. Like, I found myself on a major yoga trend lately, you know, where I find myself having some sets in the morning and in the afternoon, and then maybe an hour over here where it's like 2.5 hours a day and stuff, you know. And it's like there's always looking for this kind of hook to identify with that. Like, oh my goodness, for one thing, it feels so good. I would like to keep it up. There's one. Feels so good. I would like to keep it up. And you know, when a thought like that occurs to me, I just laugh because I know it's not relevant. It's really not relevant. The body is for restoring the mind to peace. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to be feeling good. It means you are going to be feeling really good the more you acknowledge that. And you are going to find yourself getting to do the things that you enjoy and that feel wholesome and good for you the more that you acknowledge who you are. Okay? It's not, and this is the thing, here's the ego's trick. Wait a minute, if I don't step up and take control of this, Let's put drinking in there now. If I don't step up and take control of this drinking, I'm just going to find myself drinking more and more in my life, getting more and more shitty. Well, here's the thing. If you identify as the one who's responsible for that, you're going to find yourself getting more, your life getting more and more shitty. You're going to find yourself more and more often engaged in something where you have a judgment about it, or engaged in something that doesn't quite feel so good to you. Okay? Here's another thing. This is fun. Nothing is good for you. Nothing is bad for you. And that's a funny thing because, you know, I find myself maybe taking a supplement, like right now I have a magnesium supplement and have a probiotic supplement. I have two supplements right now that I just started taking. And it's so fun because every time I find myself taking the supplements, you know, I know it's not a choice for me to. It's like there's an acknowledgement that it has no power. That's the opposite of how most people take supplements. And that's the opposite, because the way most people take supplements is they're taking it thinking, this is good for me, I'm doing a good thing. See? And that's really in alignment with the thinking of the world. To say that anything's good or bad for you, that's in alignment with the thinking of the world. Sure, it seems like that. Sure, it seems like that. Okay? It seems like it's in my best interest, too. So it seems like it's in my best interest to take the supplements, okay? But that's the illusion playing out. I don't even have a choice in that. I didn't have a choice in the thought where, you know, it was shown to me, it arose for me that, hey, magnesium might be really awesome for you, you know. I didn't have any choice in that. I didn't have any choice in buying the thing. So you're watching. The illusion is very convincing. It's very convincing. It's saying, yeah, you did that. You did that. And you have a choice right there to deny that that's reality. Deny that that's reality. Because you are, as awareness, not able to have any kind of ailment. There's no way you need any supplement. There's no way you need any supplement to be whole. Okay. So there's also no way you need sleep to get energy. You don't need sleep to get energy. But look, you probably haven't met anyone yet who doesn't find themselves going sleep here and there. Okay. In fact, I just woke up from a nap, apparently. But I know that energy doesn't come from sleeping. And the lack of energy, the perceived lack of energy, is just an effect of a guilty conscience. What does that do for me? What does that do? It gives me freedom. It gives me freedom to be however I am, to be however I am. If I happen to feel tired, that's okay. It doesn't mean I go back to, what is it that made me tired? Did I get enough sleep last night? Was it that I ate something? Is it because I partied too hard? All the different reasons.
Well, it could even be projected for the next day. If I don't get 8 hours sleep tomorrow, I'm going to be tired all day. Oh,
yes,
just
that's
that
right.
one makes me tired just thinking about that.
Yeah. I can see that. Yeah. So all it takes to see through is recognizing that these kinds of thoughts, like I'm going to be tired if this, I am tired because of this, oh, I have a lot of energy because of this, I feel freed up because of this. See, watch those. Watch them. They're just playing out. There's nothing right or wrong about them. It's not like they're wrong. It's not like they're wrong, but they are the world's thinking playing out. They're just the world's thinking playing out. I'm going to go away for a moment and come right back. Keep them company, Lori.
It's the ticker tape.
I have to put a shirt on, different shirt on.
Ticker tape of thought. Constantly. All recycled thoughts. There are no new thoughts. Everybody's filtering through the same thoughts. Know about your
I wasn't that hot before it was dialogue. I need to change my shirt. It just got really hot. So fun.
Your silent retreat.
Oh yeah. So I just got off a 4-day silent retreat with my friend Molly, who was just on here, but now she's not. She was amazing. I gotta say that about Molly first. She took me under her wing. She calls it Panchakarma. That's an Ayurvedic, what would it be called? I don't think it's a technique because there's a lot of different things going on. But anyways, there was a lot of different like body scrubs, hot oil, lots of hot oil, a big bath every day, steam room every day, 3-hour massage, yoni steam. I was getting steamed everywhere. Lori, your face is the best. I recommend yoni steam, everyone. That's some good stuff. What?
I've never heard of such a thing.
Okay. You sit on this thing that's it looks like a toilet, kind of, right? So it's got the opening just like a toilet, but it's got like rosemary and all these other herbs, and then hot water to make steam, and you just sit on it and you get steam going up into your yoni. So I had that, and I asked her after I wasn't silent anymore, I asked her, what is that for? And she said it's for toning the tissues and also keeping everything lubricated.
Oh.
So that's super fun. So look, here's the thing. Let me interject right here. So none of these things that are being performed are actually having any effect. The effect is in the mind. So these things like a yoni steam or a massage or hot rocks or bath or sauna, they're all like agents of the mind to bring about the illusion of effects. Really, we don't need the agents to get the same effects. It's just that we're perceiving in separation. So it's sort of like the agreement here is that we need to do something in order to get an effect. Okay, so the effect was I'm hot. Also, things are really intense because, heat plus silence. Love that combo. You can get them some things done really fast in the psyche. Okay, because heat is kind of like anger. Okay, and when you're silent, it's just you and your consciousness. Everything that you didn't see before starts being brought up to the surface. I just get surprised. What's bothering me that I didn't know about? I find out. I soon find out. A thought will take me, it'll run around and around and around and around. Victimization, some anger, resentment, wishing things would be different. Those kinds of things. They come up in the silence, and in the silence they can be resolved. What happens is when, we're talking all the time or watching TV or, whatever, to distract ourselves away from what's bothering us. Now, something is bothering all of us. No one's exempt from that. Something is bothering all of us. Otherwise, we wouldn't be perceiving a world in separation. There's some stuff in the psyche that's upsetting, okay? So when it comes to the surface, that's the opportunity to let it be healed. That's where the opportunity is. So, if you feel drawn to it, if you feel drawn to it, it's not going to be helpful if you don't. Silence is a beautiful way to allow healing. Things can happen very quickly that way, and you can get really deep. For me, it was a pattern that had been playing out for at least 30 years. At least. Just like not so visible though. And it's not really up in my face all the time. It doesn't come up in my face all the time. But just like not so, just a secret wish that someone close to me would be different. Just a secret wish. And it's someone who's been in my life since, I was 4 years old. So just a secret wish that person was different. And it's not something that comes up time and time again. It's not something that keeps on coming up all the time. So it's not super noticeable. And I don't have the person up in my face in my life all the time. Just time to time we communicate. From time to time there's communication. Well, in the silence, it was revealed to me that this is ready. This is ready for healing. And what we start to see in that is it's some identification that you want to keep. And in my case, it was identification with pride. It was identification with pride. And this person would not acknowledge me for what I've accomplished.
Ooh, wow.
Would not. In fact, she would keep on informing me that I haven't accomplished that I got it all wrong. That actually she knows something that I don't know. And I've been fooled this whole time.
Oh my God, oh, this is exactly. My sister and I, exactly.
Yay!
Exactly.
Well, I'm talking about my sister too, so.
Oh my God. She said to me, she goes, the other day, she goes, you almost had it. I was going to say something. It's so beautiful. I've now seen exactly how I kept her there. It was all me.
Yeah.
This was huge for me last week. Huge.
Wow.
Driving when that came to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just random. I know exactly where I was driving too.
Mm-hmm.
During the week last week, I was like, what? It was always me.
Always is.
Wow, that one I never saw before.
Yeah. And see, and here's the thing. We know we have more to heal because we can still perceive like this, because I could have this webinar right now. That's how we know.
Which is fine.
It's awesome. It's awesome. That's how we know that there's something. So it's like it's like we don't have to try to get there either, because they're just coming up as we can handle it, as we can be willing to see through it. See, for me, it was just all this attack on my sister, like, why can't she just see? And it was relating to my relationship with my husband. I've been with my husband, Tony, apparently for 25 years. And what I've always shared is the 25 years is projected right now from my mind. Well, in the story of my life, I was raised by a mom, and so is my sister, raised by a mom that holds the belief, very committed to the belief, that all men cheat. All men cheat. They cannot be committed to one woman. Well, you can probably imagine the sense of pride that would come over me when I'm going along, especially after 1 year, 2 years, 3. I'm going, when's this guy going to cheat? Just in some recent years, maybe about 5 years, I'm not sure how long ago, my sister and I had a conversation where she said, I know about Tony cheating on you. And I go, what? She's like, don't try to hide it, Hope. Don't try to hide it. Mom told me. I know about your telephone call with her and confiding in her and telling her. And I'm going, like, I'm going, what is going on here? She's like, I know you're just trying to hold up an image, and you're trying to make it look like you have this good relationship and stuff.
What a gift that was.
I know. I know. So the feeling has been, oh, keep your distance. In fact, don't even come around me, because you might make up a story that you had something going on with him if you're alone with him or something. So it was always like, that, and good thing is that she doesn't find herself in my area, in my world very much anyways, because I don't need any of that. So a few weeks before this silent retreat, I get a text message that asks me for help to get to Hawaii. And in the same text message, I know about your husband cheating. It seemed to me as if it was almost like a bribe, like, help me get to Hawaii or I'm going to tell everyone that, you have a cheating husband. So, I returned it with kindness, even though it felt like, oh my goodness, and she's out of her mind, just returned it with kindness. I let her know that I'm not interested in helping her get to Hawaii, but I said, hey, thank you for letting me know, and I appreciate you. And at the same time I'm saying that, it's really hard to say. It's really hard to say because I don't really believe it. I don't really know it. I don't really believe it. So in this retreat, that's what came up over and over and over again. Even the thought occurred to me, like, maybe she'll die.
And phew, that'd be over.
Yeah, I don't want to have to worry about this shit. No. All different kinds of thoughts occurred to me. One of them was maybe I'll record a conversation with my mom and get my mom to say that, she was just saying that to make my sister feel better, or I don't know. But every one of these thoughts, I could see that it's just leading toward more misery.
Exactly. Oh
yeah. And I just kept on maintaining that I'm making this up. And it's fun for me because it'll just seem to be like, oh my gosh, this is really hard, And the sister and I, we have some history going way back to when I was married the first time, and I was pregnant with Akea, and she was having sex with my husband at that time. Look at Lori's face. In fact, she got pregnant and had a baby. So Katie got a sister/cousin. And that was when Jerry Springer show was really big. It's like, couldn't stop thinking of Jerry Springer.
Oh my God.
So when you get the lessons really hard like that, that's because you can do it. Because you can see through it. When the lessons are really hard for that's why. It's because you have the strength. You've been given the strength because you can see through it. And look, when the lesson's really hard like that and forgiveness is allowed, forgiveness is allowed, then the healing is so much more. See, wow, I thought my sister was a bitch. My sister never showed any remorse for that. Not one bit. Not one bit.
And she turns around and tells you that Tony's, wow.
And so it's not like it's not like, oh, will you please forgive me, you know. It's more like okay, you know what, forgiveness is just what has to be here, otherwise I'm suffering. If there's no forgiveness, I'm suffering. And even in the beginning, when I was 19 years old, and my sister and my ex-husband, he was my husband at the time, came into the hospital room while I was delivering Achaia, and I could tell that they were having sex. I just got the feeling. And I told the doctors, get them out of here, please. So I can have this baby.
His baby.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and yeah, you just get. She was only 15, and that was one thing. I go to her. I go, you know what? I am not mad at you at all. I'm not mad at you at all. He is not my man, obviously. I'm not mad at you, and you know, it wasn't anything. Like I wasn't trying to hold it. Not that she was asking me, you know.
right, because she obviously.
Yeah, she got permission from my mom to do that, so. Yeah, so. I love that.
Speech?
Very often. You thought you had something that you thought you had something to forgive, yeah?
Wow. Okay.
And then, so the whole time, you know, it seemed like I could have been totally okay with that and had a fine, loving relationship with my sister. But then at the same time, I have been asking her to keep jabbing me all these years. Keep jabbing me, keep poking me. Because I didn't quite go all the way yet. I didn't quite go all the way to forgiveness. So keep poking me, keep jabbing at me, you know. Keep telling me that keep telling me that, you know, you are a threat to my relationship.
That makes me think of mine, and when she said, "You almost had it," I almost laughed.
You almost had what?
Because she doesn't think, she thinks the way we think is not the right way anyway, and she says, you were so close, you almost had it.
That is beautiful. What a blessing.
It was absolutely beautiful, because I was just like, okay.
Thank you for letting me know.
Thank you. Exactly.
Yeah. So what I saw within myself was that I wanted her to be different. You see that?
Yes. Same here. Yes.
Yeah. I just and you know, I just wish that I wished that she would be different, and I wish that she would be different so that I could be validated for what I've accomplished here. You know, and it came to me, oh my goodness, this is making my relationship with my husband real. A relationship with my husband, it's not real. There hasn't been 25 years of faithfulness. That's just projected right now from this point in time. It's projected right now from this point in time. Nothing happened. And if, for instance, it's so funny because, you know, maybe it'll come up again, maybe it won't, but I'm guessing that it will come up in some form where someone will tell me about my husband being something, and it'll just be like, okay. And they might prod a little bit. Okay, so what's your point?
Mm. Yeah, that would be like somebody.
So one of the first things one of the first things that occurred once the silence was over was I just felt like reaching out and communicating with my sister and letting her know that, wow, I have been wanting you to be different this whole time. You know, I thought, why would I want to help someone who would make my man into a cheater, make me into a liar, make herself into a threat to my relationship? That was what I thought. And then I realized that's how you love. That's how you love me. And yes, I value your love. I appreciate your love. I want you like you are. I want you exactly as you are. No. I continue to hold you. I continue to hold you. A vision of you having the most wonderful relating, having the experience of someone who loves you so much that they're not capable of feeling a sexual attraction for another person. And I've been capable of that because they love you so much. You know, I still continue, and that's been a vision that I've held, that I've seen, and I've held, and I've seen inside myself and held for her. And it's okay. It's okay if she wants to keep the belief that all men cheat, including my husband. And it was so healing, because then the next thing I know, her response back to me was like, that day I thought my boyfriend was cheating on me. You know, she was feeling bad that day, when a couple of weeks ago when she sent a text. That day I felt like this. And, you know, I couldn't have a complete open heart for her and notice that she's even going through anything, because my reaction was so strong. My reaction to it was so strong. So in going into the silence and seeing it bubble up to the surface like that, if and when that occurs again, I'm guessing that there will be a lot more strength there. There will be a lot more strength, and the strength comes from not having these impediments. The strength to be there for our brothers and sisters who are going through it. And no one's going to seem like they're making an attack on you unless they are going through it. See, your sister included. You know, even the thought, you almost had it, Lori, that is a self-reflection.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh, thank you. Thank you. Because I can take that.
Right.
You know, I can take that. It's no problem.
Yeah. Doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing. Yeah. So these in these relatings, it comes up as if, can you take it now? Can you take it like this? Is this too much for you? And if it seems like it's too much for you, just be willing to see. Now I could tell when I had that exchange with her a couple weeks ago, that it wasn't quite clear on my part. I could tell it wasn't quite clear. The energy wasn't quite clear on my part. There was still some kind of impediment, you know, because there's all these different thoughts and memories and things arising. You know, it's like kind of like a build up, an apparent build up over time. And, you know, it's victimization. Like, why is that my sister? And it totally went to, oh my gosh, I just love my sister. She's actually so sweet. She's actually so sweet. And the things that she does and the things that she says are all for me. And they're all for me to realize that the self-image is an illusion, and that and my false pride is hurting me. My false pride is making me miserable.
Yes.
That's it. And that's the gift that she's giving.
Pointing it out. Yeah.
That's right. And it may seem a lot more difficult than most people have it with their sisters. but you know, each one gets what they can handle. Each one gets what they can handle. Let's put it that way. Okay. So So if it's really difficult, that's what you gave to yourself. It's something that seems really difficult. Oh, that's just unforgivable. I can't forgive that.
Mm. Mm.
And that, there's the same kind of perception if I went along with the world's thinking with a lot of, quite a few members of my family. Oh, that's just, you shouldn't even be talking to them. In fact, when I was younger, I took 7 years off of communicating with anyone in my family. When I was in my 20s, I took 7 years off.
So you punished yourself for 7 years.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that I punished myself because at that time, I was really heavily into the self-image, and it was a huge relief to not have all of that noise.
Mm.
It was just a really big relief to not have all of that. There were some family members where I would feel like, wow, it would be really nice if I could talk with them, but that was before cell phones. So it wasn't, in order to talk with those family members, like some of my brothers and sisters who were much younger than me, it would require me going to my parents' house. I'm the oldest one. So the 7 years started when I was 21, and I had a lot of little brothers and sisters living at home. So it meant that I was talking to no one. And that I was talking to no one, and my little brothers and sisters were hearing stories about how I abandoned them. So then they were getting kind of pissed at me too. But they got over it for the most part so far. It's an ongoing thing from person to person. But with my sister, with this particular sister, it's healed.
Right.
I can say that it's healed. In fact, I let her know that she's one of my greatest spiritual teachers.
Mm. Yeah, mine is too.
Yes. Yes. It's like, it's not that you should accept. It's not that you should accept or that you should, you should let them be as they are. You should love them as they are. It's nothing like that. It's that you are already joined you're joined in love. You're joined at the heart, you could say. And you can look at it like this. No matter what they seem to be doing to you, it's like it pains them to do it to you. But they know that in doing that, it's going to help you.
Mm.
Okay? And know that in doing that, it's going to help you so that you can see through this illusion and totally release yourself from any kind of misery, any kind of suffering, and ultimately to find yourself back in heaven.
Right.
It's a gift to you. It's a gift for us.
When I saw driving that day, because when she told me she didn't want to be friends anymore and just acquaintances here and there, like our cousins, there was a relief here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There was pain, but there was also a relief.
Yes.
I wanted it that way. And whenever I told people that she doesn't want to talk to me, it was really me.
Mm-hmm. Right. It just made it real easy for you when she said she didn't want to talk to you.
It made it so damn easy. And I remember in the back of my mind, each time I said it, it did not feel right. Each time I said, she doesn't want to talk to me, when she decided we weren't talking anymore, the minute I said she decided, I knew.
Yeah.
On a different level, I knew that it wasn't right. That didn't feel right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get tuned in and you learn how to listen in the spirit. And you may not be ready to address it in that moment, and it's okay. May not be able to address it right now, but you know And when you're willing to acknowledge, then it's going to come to the surface for you. If you're not willing to acknowledge, then it won't come to the surface for you. And then, you could have your death experience. You can both have your death experiences, and then you can play it out again. Next lifetime.
Oh.
That's how it goes. It just keeps on going until it ends in laughter. You know why it ends in laughter?
Because it's ridiculous. Because it's not even real.
because we thought it was serious.
Because it was serious. It's all made up of this whole illusion of a me and a sister and a
Yes.
But you've never talked about the next life.
I haven't?
No.
Okay. Well, it's an illusion. It goes on and on and on. The illusion goes on and on and on. Okay. Everyone who you're coming into contact with right now, everyone who you're having closer relationships with, me included, we've been dancing for a long time before this lifetime. Okay. Okay. So look at it like this. It's like an ongoing relating, all moving toward the healing of the mind. But it's only in as much as we're willing to see through the illusion. Only in as much as we're willing to see through the illusion. So we all come together for these teaching, learning experiences. And, both sides are both teachers and learners. Both. Each of us is both a teacher and a learner. A teacher and a pupil, you could say. Learner. I don't know if that's a word. Teacher and pupil. And it's ongoing. And so, to get to the point where, Lori, when we saw each other, did we not recognize each other? First time.
Unbelievable.
First time. You see how that goes? You see how it is? You notice how you recognize certain people?
Yes, I knew. Yeah, right away.
Yeah. You knew me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I admired you. You just were so yourself.
And for no reason in particular. And there are plenty of people meet me and do not get that same reaction. See, it's just that you know me. You know me. We've been doing this kind of thing for a while. Lifetimes, possibly. In fact, if you want to find out, Christine?
Yes.
Get a reading from her. She's an Akashic reader.
She is.
She reads your past lifetimes. You can even ask her specifically, what was I doing with Hope before? I'm not kidding.
I'm going to ask her.
Yeah, you can even ask her, what was I doing with Hope? What was I doing with my husband? What's the deal with me and my husband? What's the deal with me and my kid? Look at her face. I love it.
That sounds so cool.
Yeah. So it goes on and on like that. And when I went to see her, she told me that with one of my sons in a previous lifetime, I witnessed him kill my family. And so I was like, whoa, I felt that. In fact, it was so weird to me because it was before I ever had any kind of inkling about spirituality or anything. I just got, for some reason, had this sense that he was a murderer and he's a baby. What? Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never told Christine that or anything.
Yeah.
But she told me, she's like, whoa. And I go, oh, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. How, in some of these relationships, and I've seen this and people have talked to me about it with parents and children, parents and children, they seem to be at complete odds, like just butting heads and stuff like that. It's like cellular memory, you know, because it's programming. Programming is encoded into the body sense. The programming from past lives is encoded into the body sense, and this rage against each other continues, no matter, even if they're your kid. So people are having these conflicting relationships, and they're not realizing why. They think there's something wrong with them or something wrong with the other person, but really it's just coming up. It's all love, and it's just coming up so that you can see through the illusion.
By stop judging the other one as something being wrong with them.
Yes. Yeah, it's a willingness to see through. So before Christine ever told me that, there had already been a massive healing. There had already been a massive healing, and Christine could even see that as well. She said, I see how you have collapsed lifetimes in this lifetime. I can see how lifetimes have been collapsed. And that's because before I had any knowledge as to this or anything, I just found myself in really big conflict. With him. So when at one point came up, and at one point I had visions of killing him. And it's like, and then the guilt around that. Oh my God, how can you? That is not cool. You know, to have visions like that. That is not cool. So, you know, but that's where it got there. That's where it got the most intense. That's where I already knew I was making it up. Once I already knew, okay, I'm making it up. Everything that I perceive, I'm making up. Once I acknowledged that, that's when it got really heavy. That's when it got really intense. And it was like it just played out as if, whoa. And then I found out, I was like, you know, wow, now I can see how someone can kill their kid, you know, because I'd always hear those news stories. I'm like, God, how could someone do that? How could someone just fucking kill their kid? And I was like, now I see, because I just saw it in my own psyche. And I saw how it seemed like that would benefit me somehow. How that would give me so much relief right now. It seemed like that would give me so much relief right now. And then suddenly all this compassion for all these moms, I heard of moms. What's that?
That you judged as, how could they do such a thing?
How could they? Exactly. And it's and you know, all of that. And then there was a couple of different incidences playing out. But one of the biggest ones that I write about in my book, it's under the chapter bullying. Forgot, is it really called bullying? I don't know what the chapter's called, but there's something about bullying. And in that chapter, that's where I set out in the chapter how that was resolved for me, how it was all of a sudden like, oh, no, I do feel like you are doing something wrong, but I know it's not true. And when I could acknowledge that, I feel like it. I know my feelings aren't true either. I feel like it, but I know it's not true. There was an actual, an energetic shift that I could feel, and everything changed. And that's where, you know, Christine could see lifetimes collapsing. So for like next lifetime, there doesn't have to be one. Let's say that there doesn't have to be one. I'm all for this being the final lifetime. In fact, you know, it's the only purpose for me, the only function of my body in this illusion is to restore the mind to peace, so that no one has to do another lifetime. No one has to go through another lifetime. I would like to restore the mind to peace enough so that no one has to do it again. And is that within my power? Yes. Yes. Because there's one mind. There's only one mind. So if all of those impediments are healed, you know, like my yoga teacher, my favorite yoga teacher, Ravi Singh, says, one of these days, we're going to turn a corner and find ourselves in the world of light. where there's no birth, no death, no conflict, no sickness, no injuries. Did I miss anything?
Judgment.
Yeah. It's not all that we're perceiving here is the impossible. And we only continue to take on lifetimes because of unresolved anger, unresolved guilt, unresolved shame. Okay. We only continue to keep on taking on lifetimes. In fact, this particular lifetime only is continuing because of that guilt, anger, shame, all what come about in believing the thought of separation. So even this lifetime does not need to continue as such. You know, people trip out on me, and you know, the one of my friends told me the other day, 20 years, we're both going to be so wrinkly, and I'm like, I'm not buying that. You know, we were just talking about restoring the mind to sanity and stuff like that. And my friend goes, Hope, even the saintliest of saints end up looking really wrinkly, tore back. And I go, well, are we here to believe perceptions? Are we here to believe what we see? Is that what it is?
It really doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's not that it matters. Aging is a sign of death. It's like a warm up to death. Okay, aging is a warm up to death. It's not a necessary thing. We make it necessary by reinforcing it, by showing that in the illusion. Look, it's happened to them. It's going to happen to you. It happened to them. It must be inevitable.
Must be.
I've seen people dying. It must be inevitable that my body's going to die too. See, that's how it gets upheld. It's not like resistance. It's not like trying to avoid aging. That's not where I'm going with this, or saying that it's a bad thing or anything like that. But I'm not buying that it's inevitable. Because it's a statement. Aging is a statement that death is coming. It's a statement of the ego. I don't have any problem with seeing aging. I have a perception of a wrinkle here and there, another gray hair, a little thinning too, apparently. But still, that's the thing. It's a convincing illusion. Don't let yourself be convinced. Don't let yourself be convinced. I'm not seeing what's real. I'm not seeing what's really there. I got a hand. The hand of the Molly.
Yeah, oh, Molly.
Hey, baby.
The hand of the Molly. Give you good rub downs.
Oh, yeah. That big, strong hand of the Molly.
Stroke your hair.
Oh, man.
Hi.
You were not on when we were talking about your wonderful retreat. So maybe you'll listen later. I don't know.
Oh, what? I was on and then I was off for a bit, and then that must have been when you were talking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it just came up when you weren't on.
Oh, that's great. That's when I was dealing with my credit card debt.
Oh, how fun.
I had to turn off Wisdom Dialogue so I could scramble with some illusion for a little while and kept feeling really shitty. So I could have something to talk about.
Oh, that is so great.
So well, first of all, I mostly just want you to remind me that credit card debt is not real, but I'll also just show you my train of thought. I was invited to like a fun, like money spell group, you know, like abundance kind of game. And that was fun. And then I was also like, well, this is kind of funny because money's not real, you know? Yeah. So I don't like need to generate it like that. But I like giving random gifts, and I end up like giving a lot. Like I do, like if I'm ever included in anything like that, I love to receive, but I love to give. And then I picked up a hitchhiker and like gave him $20 because he was broke. And like, you know, there was this like lingering thought that, oh, this is why, because I just will just like empty a hole in my pocket. Like, here, take it. and really innocently, I do feel that I can do that because I always do feel that there is enough. So I always do feel like I can just give and give.
Yeah.
And then everyone was kind of, there's a lot of people, like, then there was, people were feeling like receiving, you know, and then I today was like, I'm moving and there's all this like stress and I'm like the opposite of feeling abundant. And so it was kind of fun that was like, you know, the purpose was like for abundance. And then I am kind of like over here feeling like, oh, I'm experiencing the freaking opposite of that. And then I look at my credit card and it's like, no matter, I paid $800 last month and it's like the same. I'm looking at the same number.
Yeah.
And I'm just all pissed off right now. And I don't know, like, it's just this persistent of, I don't know how I'm going to get ahead of it. It just doesn't seem to go anywhere. And I don't know what to do. And then there's also emails like once a week now that my credit score has dropped. Just
Oh, wonderful.
Want to really make sure I know that I'm really fucking up right now.
That's
So anyways,
wonderful.
that was my little spew for the day. And I'd love to be reminded that that's not real.
Reminded.
Okay, so every time you get one of those emails or you think like about your credit card or something, notice the feeling that arises in your body. Notice the feeling sensation arises in your body, okay?
Frustration.
Yeah.
Hopelessness.
Mm-hmm.
Like stuckness, like it, like it's sort of like it's not like an imprisonment, but it's like, it's kind of like that, like, so powerless. That's the word, powerless.
Yes.
And then you get frustrated when you feel powerless.
Well, you get frustrated when you feel powerless if you don't recognize that you are projecting that for the feeling of powerlessness. Okay.
Are you projecting frustration for the feeling of powerlessness?
You're projecting the whole story for that feeling of that you're powerless. You want to get that feeling. You want to get that feeling of powerless because as soon as you took the thought of separation to be true, you felt powerless. Okay, remember we were talking about yesterday, there's only one problem.
Yep.
There's only one problem. So it seems like there's a multitude of problems. Like there's money over here, maybe a body issue over here, you know, but there's really only one problem. And if you would be willing to get that feeling effect without running. So what's happening is your habit is to run. Your habit is to run in thought. Your habit is to run on about it. Gosh, you know, when I see that I paid $800 to my credit card and then it's the same, it's exactly the same. Look at this feeling that I get. So the habit is to run into thought instead of just get the feeling and, you know, with a smile, recognizing that you gave it to yourself because you know it's for healing that sense of powerlessness. The original sin, you can say. The original thought of separation. I feel like
breaking a window right now. That's the feeling that I get. I'm so mad.
Yeah, and you know, it feels victimized because it feels like it's a victimized thing because of not realizing that you're giving it to yourself as a gift.
Fuck.
Because this is what, and it's mistaking, you know, like the life is for something that it's not. It's taking life as if it's for having a good credit score. It seems really petty when you look at it that way, right?
Oh yeah.
When we know that life is for restoring the mind to peace. This is a big. There has to be a big reason why we made the world. A big important reason why we made the world. And, you know, it's for restoring the mind to peace. It's not for getting a good credit score. It's not for being able to give the hitchhiker $20. You know, it's not for having things to give. That's not really generosity. That's not true generosity.
Yeah, that's the funny thing, was that there was this weird thing with that generosity, almost like the credit card was right behind it. Like, yeah, I don't know.
But you can't afford to give $20.
Yeah. Like, yeah, exactly.
Or I'd give you all the money if I had it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true, I would. That's how I feel.
I give it all to you but see, all it has to do with is not feeling abundant. Not feeling abundant. That has nothing to do with whether or not you have the money physically and feeling abundant. So it's like you're feeling like like a sense of lack.
Yeah, it was almost like the generous gift was followed by, I can't afford, what am I do, like by scarcity thoughts. Like it was almost like a setup for that.
Yeah.
It's like a martyr kind of, I gave so much of myself away that I don't have enough of, or something. But the weird thing is, I also feel extremely abundant at the same time. This is the corner of my life where I really am believing in lack, because I feel like the both are happening simultaneously.
Oh, sure. The ego always gives you the good with the bad.
Oh, okay.
That comes from feeling separate.
Oh, yeah. Well, all of it does.
Yeah.
All of it does. Everything in this world comes from feeling separate. Every thought of this world, let's say that way. So your abundance comes from, true abundance comes from which guide you're choosing to follow, whether you're choosing to follow the guide that upholds the thought of the world, or if you're listening to the guide that informs you that the world is not real and the world is for restoring the mind to peace. If you're presently listening to the guide that says what this world is for, it does not matter if you have the worst credit in the world and not a dime to your name. You feel infinitely abundant. And abundance is just a feeling.
Yeah, like it really does not matter whether I have credit card or debt or not. Like I actually am not affected by it. Like not even in a spiritual macrocosmic way. Like literally, it doesn't affect me. Except for,
well, of course not. Illusions don't have any effect on you.
They don't. It's just the feeling in my mind that it's like so funny, the number and then the little email. I had been really feeling good about it, and then the emails come to just keep telling me that the credit score is dropping, so that I don't just relax around it all the way.
No, and that's a gift that you're giving yourself so that you can relax more.
Yeah.
It's an invitation to relax more, because all of this is meaningless and it has nothing to do with your abundance, which is only a feeling.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to open a new email account.
Well, you don't have to avoid, see. You don't have but you can if that's what you need. If that's the self-care that you need, you can. Okay? So it's not saying don't avoid, because if that's the self-care you need. Lori and I were just talking, I was telling her that I didn't talk to my family for 7 years of my life. It was just too much. Yeah. It was adding up more and more misery. I wasn't at the place where I could address that, But just recognize you're not willing, it's all willingness. You're not willing to address that yet. And that's why you would need a different account.
Right, because I'm not at the point of like laughing every time I see that email.
Yes.
Every time. And when you bring up family, it reminds me, my dad, because my mom had massive credit card debt. She's now out of it. So my dad has this like massive hang up around it. I can see his eyebrows raising when I told him it was like a quarter, an eighth of what it is.
Oh my goodness, that's so funny.
He almost lost, he almost like fainted because he's so it's like my mind reflecting so like dramatically like how bad it is.
Yes.
And then playing that with my mom, and then it's really interesting that my mom is like really being super supportive in so many ways, and she's made it through, but I have these like this just dual picture of, I don't know, this play that's linked in with some sort of family consciousness that has something to do with credit card debt.
Yes, definitely. And also what I see is this sense of responsibility for you to take that credit card debt down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And there's pressure coming to you from your family like, hey, you know what? You can do it, Molly.
Yes.
And it's identifying you as a doer. And Molly, see, the thing is that you want to see through this. You want to see through the illusion of the doer. Okay?
I do.
Okay. So that's why you're giving it to yourself this way. Molly, no matter how hard you try, the credit card debt's still there. Just for now. That it could change, but just for now, no matter what you think you can do, there it is.
No matter what I seem to be no matter what I do, it's still there.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do to get it to
you
go
would,
down.
You would rather see through the illusion than get that kind of self-image relief.
Yes.
That, oh, look it, I did it. Credit card was up and now I took it down. And then you can go around and tell other people that they can do it too.
That is exactly it, Hope. I know deep down there's a voice that I will get satisfaction from paying it off.
Yeah.
And then there's a voice that's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel satisfied when that thing is paid off. You won't have a party and like be like, so like life is going to be so much better now.
Yeah.
It's
well,
like,
because it's all an illusion, and it's an expression of your emotional state.
And that is this feeling of powerlessness.
Yes, that feeling of powerless. And also, there's another feeling that I'm sensing that's very habitual for you, and that's grrr.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Like it's back. Like I need to like murder something that is coming my way. Like
yes.
that grr.
Yeah.
That grr is like, because it's funny because you grrred at the dog that
yeah.
It's like the grr is that something that I perceive is attacking me.
Yes, that's right.
An oppressor that I am going to like behead. It's so intense.
You even had that grr come up when someone didn't like your restaurant. Molly has a restaurant that she likes, and then one of our mutual friends said it was shitty food, and Molly had a reaction. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. Okay, cool.
You see, so do you see that reaction and that feeling, it's the same all the way across the board?
Oh yeah, I had that. I've been having that grr with something else today too.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun. That's one. That 2 weeks ago was shame and incredible fear, and now today it's grr.
Yeah.
How fun.
Yeah. So the way out is through this grrr. The way out is through this, because when you're feeling that feeling, that feeling like something's attacking you, just recognize where it's projecting from. Be willing to recognize where it's projected from. Remember, there's only one problem, and that's believing in the sense of separation. That's what gave you that feeling in the first place. That's what it's caused from. And then there's all these extrapolations making it look like you're being attacked all over the place in all these different ways.
Okay, so with the fear and the shame and some of those other emotions, I can more easily see, oh yes, I'm like so willing to heal this. I'm so wanting to heal this.
Mm-hmm.
And with the GER, I just visualize like doing things like more martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
and smashing windows,
Mm-hmm.
and killing fools. Like I don't see the same desire or willingness to see through it. I see more of an urge to like act, even though I'm gonna act and do anything violent. Like it's in my mind. My mind wants to go more towards a relief of like a visual, like again, like martial arts something, or just not even martial arts. It's not even a good example. Just like of a visual ass kicking or glass smashing or something like that. And my mind doesn't want to go to the healing of the GER.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense. It's like you want to hold that thing out as being wrong or bad, you know. I want it. So here's how it plays out in the mind, you know. And as you're watching this, as you're watching it play out, eventually you're going to see that it has no value to keep these things. There's no value to you to keep these things as if they're real.
Oh, I think, okay, yeah, I think that I saw that with the guilt and the shame and the fear. And I think that the aggression is like, maybe it's like a thicker, like ancestral or karmic, like it seems to have more value than the others. Like
Okay, well you can forget about the ancestral part of it. Okay, just come back to right now, because the feeling like there's something attacking you. This is what it is. Okay, the feeling like it's something attacking you. You'd rather maintain that thing is attacking you than you would see that you're just projecting that feeling. Okay, in the moment you're choosing to maintain that the thing, like take the dog bite for instance. Okay, I told a story yesterday, in-person wisdom dialogues, where I'm walking down the street and then all of a sudden this little dog comes up and just bites my ankle. Lori probably remembers it from a couple years ago. Yeah. So take the dog bite for instance. Once I had the dog bite experience, and now I'm walking with pain and there's blood dripping all the way to the street from my ankle. You know, there's a choice right there. There's a choice in that moment. Am I going to make the dog real? Or am I going to acknowledge that I'm projecting this right now, and all of the feelings that I'm feeling right now, the anger toward the dog, the anger toward the owner, am I willing to acknowledge that I'm projecting all of this right now, or am I going to hold the dog and the owner out to be a threat? See, that's the choice. So in every instant, it's another choice.
Okay, so you had told me to let go of the ancestral for right now, but then what I realized is that my mind would rather hold on to that, like sort of as a value. And it's interesting because my dad has that GER, and then he's the one that is really that trigger with the credit card.
Yeah.
And the more I've learned about my ancestry, like we're Scots Irish, like insane warriors. And now I know that that's not real, that that's just right now. But like, to me, I don't want to put down, like it really, I am living that story where like, I don't want to put down that identity of like a warrior. Like that's who we are. And to be that kind of a warrior, not like a, not like a really epic, that kind of a Scots Irish warrior, there has got to be something to fight against.
Yes.
And I'm feeling that, like I just lately have felt a lot of like past life clearing, and again, I don't get too hooked into those stories, but they've just come and cleared.
Yeah.
And now that has seemed to be the one that just keeps coming, is this like just big ancestral warrior where like it's fun for me to be like, rah, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to let it go because I feel very identified with it.
Yeah, well, it seems like that's where your safety lies.
and it's more than safety. It's like, maybe it's ego. It's where my pride lies.
Well, sure. And here's the thing. Your pride is in making yourself safe. Okay. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
this pride is like, I'm strong enough to keep myself safe, and that's what that's about. So it seems like that's where safety is, to take on this kind of violent self-image. It seems like that's where your safety is, but really your safety is in total defenselessness. See?
Damn it.
So you're gonna start valuing the defenselessness, because you're gonna, remember I talked about yesterday. You cannot act against yourself. You're gonna act in your best interest. So you're holding on to this because you think that's how you're gonna keep yourself safe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not true. In fact, it's opening you up for attack. It's setting you up. It's setting you up for attack. That's how the ego works. It makes it look like safety is in this. Just like this world. The whole world has been made manifest because it looks like that's where our safety is. Because it looks like if you try to go back to heaven, you're just going to get killed because you're not worthy of heaven. So your safety is in making up this make-believe world where you could put death somewhere in the future. See?
Oh yeah, like I'm obsessed with Game of Thrones, and the little girl's like the most epic warrior, and then her teacher says, "What do we say to death? Not today." And I'm like, yes.
But it's coming. See, that's the ego's promise, that death is coming. That's the promise of this world. And see, while you're making the choice to protect yourself, keep yourself safe by yourself,
and those I love, like I even have like visions of if someone were to try to hurt someone I love, like what I would do to them.
well, it's as if someone can hurt someone.
Oh, I am not seeing through that illusion today. Fun. How fun.
Yes, it's very fun.
Wow. Okay, well, I can just accept that's a thick one for me.
Well, just let it, and okay, and here's the other thing. This is big in an instance like this, okay? It seems as if there's a difference between these illusions. Like some are more difficult than others. Like some illusions are more difficult than others. It seems as if, okay? And if you take that thought to be meaningful, it makes it so that you have to play it out as if it's challenging. There's no challenge for you. There's absolutely no challenge for you. All challenge is make believe. So it's like, take a step back from all of these concepts. Just keep taking a step back from all of the concepts. There's no challenge for you because you're the truth. There's no challenge for the truth. And if you perceive a challenge, if you perceive that something's challenging, like, oh, this is past life, this is karmic, all this different, it's been building up over all this time, and it makes it feel like it's heavy, then it has to play out like it's heavy. See?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really necessary. It's okay if it does. It's okay if it does, but mentally keep taking a step back and remember that you're watching this play out, and you're giving yourself all of these feelings to make it a realistic show, to make it seem like you are the hero of this show.
Oh yeah, totally. And what is, like, I just was able to soften a lot. And what comes up though is the thing is about this one is not always that it's heavy or this one, but like what I'm having in this experience is that I like it. Like I like that girl, like, and that warrior and that hero. I can't even connect with any kind of fear I just like that role. I mean, it's like, it's maybe like the ego like the way it looks today or something like that, I guess.
Well, it's like it's you like it because you haven't seen or recognized or been willing to recognize that it's making misery for you. That's why
Yeah. It's like the flip side. It's like everything's a setup. Like being so excited by compliments is a setup to not get any compliments, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, my mind that's why I like things like Game of Thrones and stuff, because then my mind switches from this to then, oh my God, what would it be like to be like a warrior dying on the battlefield, like not killed right away, but like dying like this horrible, miserable death. And then I'll be like, oh my God, or like what I shared with you about like Christ, like, oh my God, how could anybody endure so much physical pain? So that is the exact flip side of being this warrior that kills everybody.
Right. It said protect yourself from pain.
Oh my God.
And it seems like you can avoid pain by giving the pain.
Oh yeah. Yes.
You can give it away. You can give the pain away. You can give it to someone else.
Oh my God. And that's fun. But getting the pain is horrible. But giving the pain is more
right.
fun.
That's how the ego plays it out. Hey, you know, I can totally relate with that too. One time I was getting trained by a kickboxer, you know, and we were sparring one time, and he said, "Hey, would you ever get in the ring?" And I go, "Yeah, as long as there is a rule that no one can hit me and I could just hit the people in the ring."
Right. Oh my God. That's when I started martial arts, people were like, "Damn, Molly, that's kind of scary. Like, you'd be pretty epic fighter." I was like, "I know. I want to start sparring, and like, yeah, like I want to fight all the best fighters in Hilo." And then my friend's like, "Yeah, it's gonna really hurt when you get hit in the face." And I was like, "I'm not gonna get what?" I wasn't ever thinking about.
You didn't even think about that.
I wasn't thinking I was gonna get it.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Violence leads to pain.
Right.
It doesn't have to be physical violence, but that's a good illustration. That's a really good illustration. You know, if you want to put yourself in that arena, then you're setting yourself up for exactly what you're trying to avoid.
Yeah, and I don't like to inflict physical violence. It's just like it's an imagery that I play in my mind. Like I imagine kicking ass, or I imagine these warrior ancestors. It's like I play with the idea, just to work it out, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's an energy, and it doesn't necessarily have to be played out in the form of physical violence to be violent.
No, I get to see it in other people in my life, in other relationships and experiences that I've had where I'm the one that's being, you know, where there's a dominant force. That came up for me recently too, a dominant force, a very, very extremely alpha force, so that then I could later, now I'm sitting here in my car talking about wanting to smash windows about my credit card debt, where like a couple weeks ago I was feeling dominated, you know, that kind of thing. Thank you.
Yeah.
That feels more fun than being a warrior now.
Yeah. So just watch what you think that you think is valuable to you and why. Okay. Because this idea of the violence being fun is for a setup for misery, for a setup for pain. Okay, that's the ego's purpose of it. That's why it's fun. It's fun for the ego to set you up like that. So you're talking about ego fun. That's what you're talking about. Because it's like, first there's this fear of pain, any kind of pain, financial pain, whatever. And then there's this sense like, oh, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to me. And that's what makes it fun. It's fun. It's ego fun to dish it out. Look at how much fun people have when they're putting other people down. It's fun. See how much fun people have in that, because if they can get the upper hand, if they could be the one with all the right to put everyone else in their place, then they can avoid pain for themselves. They think, but it's just a setup.
Well, yeah, and I don't have that experience, but I guess I'm just putting that experience like into my credit card debt.
Yes. That's right. Well, look at kids on the playground teasing another kid. You know.
Well, I got that when I was young, so.
Yeah, they look like they're having fun when they're teasing you. Yeah.
Yeah, so mean.
They look like they're having so much fun. They're setting themselves up for victory.
So. Oh yeah, and I did that once too. I got teased so bad, and then I dished it out a couple times, and I was like, "Oh, that was horrible." But I watched how a kid would get it and then dish it, and then it doesn't feel good at all.
Right.
But it's coming just because that happened to them somewhere before, and they think that it's. I don't know. It never felt good to me. That's all I'll say. It didn't. It was never fun to me.
Not to me either. You know, we all come in with a different set of wiring. So yeah, it never felt good for me either. But I could see how, you know, it would feel good for people to dish it out rather than take it, and that's where it becomes fun for people. It's like, well, this is how I protect myself from getting it myself, is by dishing it out. See?
Get them before they get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it would be the same kind of situation with anything. You know, it may seem like it would feel really good to break a window right now. It seemed like that would feel really good. It would be a relief. It would be an emotional relief.
Not
but
anymore.
That kind of emotional relief is only bringing more suffering.
Yeah, no, I don't have that urge anymore at all. There's like no more grr in me anymore. That's
Yay!
fun. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much, Molly. And
Who knew that was all going to come from credit card debt?
I know, it's such a blessing. You saw my video. You may have even been on the video that's called "Debt is a Blessing."
Mm.
There's a video called "Debt is a Blessing."
Because it's giving you a feeling of powerlessness for you to see through.
That's right. And more often than not, and especially in my case, there's also apparently others coming to tell you how much you fucked up.
Yeah.
And that's also part of the blessing.
Yeah.
So maybe you could just tell your dad the truth about how much credit card debt you have, and then watch your reaction to his reaction.
No thanks.
No thanks. Not yet. Not yet. Not until it'll be fun for you. Not until it'll be fun for you. You don't have to do anything that's not fun for you. But can you imagine having that experience right now? Can you imagine just telling your dad, why don't you imagine your credit card debt is as high as mine was like a month ago? 82,000. Take that number.
82,000?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Tell your dad, hey, how high is your credit card? Oh yeah, I got it up to 82,000. Can you believe they gave me that much fucking credit? And then watch you know, see like, if you can imagine laughing at it, you can have the experience. Watch.
Yeah.
If you can imagine being easy with it, but it's just like when it occurs to you in your mind, your tendency is to run from it and to try to make it something else instead of just taking it full on. Just full on and go, how can this be fun? How can this be a fun, free exchange?
Well, yeah, because I like to hide. There's something about that I like to run and hide for sure.
Yes, and all dishonesty comes from shame.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
So see yourself being honest and feeling free. Honest and free about it. Why, yes, I did run my credit card up like that.
Maybe that shame. Oh, there it is, the shame part. Yeah. Oh, I like that.
It's gonna
Thank
be
you.
it's gonna be so fun. It's gonna be so fun.
I'm
I'm so excited for you.
I'm totally gonna tell my dad sometime. His eyebrows are gonna raise up over his head.
Yeah, and just watch yourself get real quiet within. Watch yourself and watch him. Just keep watching yourself and watch him and see how honest you can be.
Yeah. I like that.
Yay. I
Yeah.
love you. I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
And by the way, everyone, I'm going to say it again. Molly's retreats kick ass. Okay? And I totally recommend that one where you're the only one on retreat. That was freaking awesome.
That's the best. That is the ideal for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hope.
Thank you, Molly. Aloha.
Aloha.
Somebody said turn that grr into great.
Great. Like Tony the Tiger.
Yeah, right.
That's right. Is it someone who's on with us? Oh, shoot. I'm not seeing everything, am I? Oh. Anonymous attendee. I'll probably find out who that is later. Thanks for watching, Lori. Thanks for watching what's going on. You're awesome.
I thought there's a little one there, and I looked at it. I thought I would get rid of it, but it's still there.
Oh, yeah, it's still there. I don't know. Oh, you can dismiss it. I dismissed it. And then it goes in the dismissed column.
Yay, there's no more little one there.
Yeah, now that doesn't have to be telling you.
I hope it was me who wrote the comment. That's Holly.
Oh, it's Holly.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Yay, Holly.
For some reason,
Great. That's a good one. That's a good one for Molly, too.
That's a good one for Holly. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, one more thing I'd like to cover. I have about 10 minutes or so left. One more thing I'd like to cover here in this one. Something came to me today about relationships, and it was really interesting because I started to see why people hold themselves in relationships. And, you don't have a choice with who you're with. That's something that I like to remind people all the time. You do not have a choice in who you're with. And a lot of people are finding themselves in romantic relationships where their partner does not demonstrate to them that their love is valuable at all. Okay? They're with a partner that doesn't demonstrate to them that their love is valuable. And unbeknownst to a lot of these people, they have a story. And the story is that they need their partner for financial stability. Could be something else too, but for the most part, most common what I see is financial stability or some other kind of security, because this has been a habitual relating. You don't have a choice whether you come and go, but you have a choice whether you believe these thoughts. You have a choice whether you believe in the moment where you notice, wow, they are not valuing my love. And maybe, who knows what's going on with people? Maybe they're not valuing in your love because they don't feel valuable within themselves. There's not anything you can do about that for them. And nor can you leave the situation. You don't have a choice in it. But you do have a choice in the thoughts that are holding you in the relationship. You have a choice in those thoughts. You have a choice whether to believe that you need them for financial security, maybe to uphold your self-image because you don't want to have a divorce, for instance, to keep the house, to keep the kids, protect the kids. And I'll tell you, kids are not being protected when they're in a household where there's all this conflict and even if there's no conflict showing on the surface, just this lack of love. So if you're using concepts to hold yourself to the relationship, you're going to keep on seeing it play out. And there gets to be this underlying sense of victimization. There's a secret wish that you could have the love that you deserve. But you're not giving yourself, you're not allowing the love that you are to come through within your psyche at the moment when you're believing a thought like, I need this for convenience. It's more convenient to stay. If you can let it be an open hand, knowing that you don't have a choice in it, but then you don't have to hold yourself to it either. Okay? You notice you don't have to hold yourself to it either. Then you're going to start seeing what's going on in your psyche. Remember, it's all in your psyche. Okay? So if you find yourself in relationship with someone who is not showing you, who cannot show you, doesn't seem capable or even wanting to show you that your love is valuable. Your love is valuable. Look at what's holding you to it. Look at what's holding you to it. What are you telling yourself? What kind of story are you telling yourself? Why is it that you feel like leaving is just out of the question? See, if in your mind leaving is out of the question because of this convenience or because of this security that you think you need, then you're going to be made willing to stay. See? You'll be made willing to stay. You're going to be made willing to stay in a relationship where you're shown that your love has no value. It's all a reflection of what you've already seen inside. It's all a reflection of what you've seen in your own mind. So, it doesn't mean that you will leave. Here's the other part, and this is glorious. It doesn't mean that you will leave. It doesn't mean that you will leave if you are willing to see through the thoughts that talk about the security in staying. Well, we've been saving up all this money together our whole lives. I wouldn't want to just blow it all now and have to split it in half or something like that. When you're willing to see through those thoughts, you may not find yourself leaving. You may not find them, they could even be the one that apparently breaks it off. Or you could witness a total transformation of your partner. You don't know. But don't hold it in stagnation. You don't have to hold it in stagnation. You can if you want, okay? You can if you want. If you want to hold it in stagnation, just keep on believing thoughts that say that you need to be with this person for some reason. Just keep on believing in that. And that's how you hold yourself in stagnation. Okay. If you're willing to see that that's just another thought occurring to you, it's not personal, you'll start to realize that you made that story up to make it seem like you are in fact vulnerable to worldly effects, that you could have poverty or shame or something like that if this relationship were to fall apart. Okay. Once you see through that, then the transfiguration could happen. Either there's a moving away and a glorious, one of my friends posted, it was a beautiful post. She said she's enjoying the sound of her footsteps as she walks away from what she no longer needs. See? Just enjoying, however it is, wherever you seem to be moved, and it's this fear of scarcity again. A lot of the times, it's scarcity consciousness coming in. Fear of scarcity consciousness that holds the relating in stagnation. Okay, there's no reason why it has to go on and on and on in an unloving fashion. The unloving fashion that you perceive is something that can be seen through very quickly. If you find yourself going year and year and year and year over it, it's because you're holding thoughts. And I'm speaking from experience here, okay? I'm speaking from experience. It's and these are thoughts that people don't want to see about themselves. Okay? Unless you want to see through the illusion, you're going to really look. You're going to really look what's playing out in your psyche. So many people, when they feel upset with their spouse and they get the thought that they might leave, another thought will come in to say why they can't or why it would be inconvenient to leave, okay? And that thought gets believed as the reason why we're not, okay, never mind, forget about that, I'm not leaving. Well, both of those thoughts are really meaningless. But if you let it be seen, what's holding this in stagnation, it'll be revealed and it'll come out to, it'll come to show you that your love really is valuable and it'll be reflected back to you. Okay? Yay.
I was going to say that's exactly, because you weren't saying in the beginning that, because I was, as you were talking, I've had all of those thoughts, but that when I was blaming him for when I was angry with him. I was blaming him. So I was like, it's his fault. I need to leave. He's just not that. He's too needy. He's too da, 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 da. When it's not that about the appreciating him appreciating me, or what would you say? His love wasn't.
You're demonstrating that your love is valuable.
Yeah, valuable. Yeah. Never mind. I had a thought and it's just disappeared. Squirrel. Squirrel.
Yeah, but you're right. It does all come down to blame in the beginning. You know, it's like they're doing this to me. Well, actually, they're doing it for you so that you can see how you're holding yourself in a particular way. And part of that may involve the appearance of breaking off the relationship. And it's still all love, okay? And the thought may occur that, oh, I could just leave. And then the thought occurs that, oh, no, I can't because we've got these different things going on, okay?
Yeah.
So it's something that the ego tries to keep secret. So just take a look at it and remember, they're not doing anything wrong or bad to you. They're showing you what you're using to hold yourself apart from the love that you are. So hooray, everyone.
Yay.
Okay. Wisdom Dialogues. I don't have any other trips planned. I think I'm going to be having Wisdom Dialogues every Tuesday, 3 p.m. Hawaii time for the next, I don't know. We'll see what comes up. So please join me. And this is sponsored, as always, by our lovely essential oil company, Miracle Botanicals. Also just launched my website, hopejohnson.org. Go check it out. I'll always be adding to it too. Apparently, that's what it seems. It seems like the motivation is there, so we'll see what happens. Yay! And I just published a new book. Hi, Bron. I just published a new book called Unschooling for Parents, and this guy's on the cover with me. Wow. You can look it up on Amazon, Unschooling for Parents, or you can go to hopejohnson.org and click on a link and get there. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you. Thank you, Lori, for being my only panelist for every single session that we've had on Zoom so far. Yay. Thanks, Phoebes. Thank you, Sharon. It's really nice to see you, Sharon, on here. So much appreciation, so much love. Aloha and a hui ho. Yeah.